In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the key updates that we've made in TestCentre version 2025. So this video is just a summary of some of the new features we've added so that you have an idea of what you've got, and so that in case you want to know more about them, you can look for the specific videos for them. So let's get started. So this is the TestCentre admin interface. So we've made quite a number of updates. The first is we've made certain improvements to optimize a lot of things, to make some activities to be performed more smoothly, and just some internal update, right? But the visible ones are as follows. So the first is the test. So I'm going to start with the test. So for the test, we've added some updates under the results section. So here are some of the key updates. First, you can now perform what is known as question analysis. So think about it this way. So let's say 100 students, you've got 100 students that sat for a given subject. And as a teacher or as a tutor, you want to know how the student perform in each question so that you will know those questions that they perform poorly at, or questions that they perform better in, right? So you can easily do that by going to group action, then you see question analysis. Once you click on question analysis, you can choose the exam or the content code. So I'm going to choose this particular content code, then I'm going to choose this particular subject, that's current affairs. So I'm going to leave the season the way it is, then the sorting order. So sorting order means how do you want to sort the question? You want to sort from the best to the worst. So worst to best means the questions where the student perform poorly, the most, that they perform worst in, will be at the top, then it goes down to the best. So let's click on analyze. So you can choose whether you want best to worst or worst to best. So let's click on analyze. So once you click on analyze, what happens is it goes through every student's correction. That is, it determines for every question what each student or candidate selected as option, and it does all the analysis, and now the result is available. So here's what we have. So what this means is for this particular question, we know the correct option is B. This is the correct option. Then the number of candidates that attempted this question, they are 94, right? Then the attempt count is how many people attempted it. So we have 94 out of 9,400%. But here's what we have. The correctly attempted is 4. So which means this is the worst perform. This is the question where most candidates perform the worst. So only 4 candidates got this question out of 94. Then it also gives you an insight into the options selected. So what this means is 61 candidates selected option A, then 21 candidates selection option C, then 8 candidates selected option D, then just 4 candidates selected option B. So what this tells you is that most candidates thought that option A is the correct answer. So that's basically what this data is telling you. So as a tutor, you can easily tell what is the reason for that, and maybe you can find a solution to it. Maybe when you want to perform, let's say you want to carry out a revision, right? This gives you an insight into how your candidates or your student perform, and that gives you information you can work with when carrying out your revision or correction with them. Okay, so this is how it's structured from worst to best. So as you go down the line, you will now realize that more candidates are getting it. The number of correctly attempted increases. Okay, so now when you get towards the end, you realize that at the very end, almost everyone got this question correctly. So this is just a very useful tool that can give you very great insights into how the students perform in each question. Okay, so you can print as well and send to whoever cares to see the analysis. So the next is we've added another tool here which allows you to export results to PDF. So before now, to export any result, you have to, let's say you have this result or correction, and let's say this is the correction. To export it, you have to print manually like this and select a printer, then eventually export. Now, but imagine you want to print in bulk. So let's say you have 100 students and you want all their results or corrections to be exported in bulk, right? So that eventually you want to save their results in bulk. You can use any of this. So if you click correction to PDF, it's going to export all the corrections of these 399 candidates, yeah, into a folder. So you select the folder by browsing this way. Then once you select the folder, it's going to save everything into that folder, and that's just good. Then you can also export the result as well to PDF, and it's going to save each candidate's result by their name, right? And this is useful in case you want to export everything at once and send to maybe a particular administrator or teacher or what have you. Okay, so these are the updates we've made on that test, right? Now let's talk about the next update. We've also updated the SMS. So I mean, how to send result as in form of SMS. Before now, to send results, you have to use the typical means. What that means is, let's say I want to send this result to a candidate via SMS. I'll go through this route, select the template as usual, then eventually proceed. But now I have the option. Now I have the option to now I have the option to choose the delivery mode. Before, the only option you have is just the bulk SMS site. But we've realized over the years that bulk SMS providers are bulk SMS providers, or most bulk SMS providers, they are unreliable. And what that means is you might send SMS and maybe 50, 40% might go through due to so many reasons, whether via maybe due to DND or some other reasons or failure from the bulk SMS provider. Now you can send SMS using your own mobile phone. So all you need to do is to install an app that we have created or designed that allows you to send bulk SMS using your own mobile device. So it's very straightforward, and you control the whole process. You use your airtime, your mobile phone, your mobile number, and you can send as many SMS as you want. So that's a very important feature that we've added. Now, how do you go about it? We've created a separate tutorial video for that. So if you go to tutorial and you go to settings and you go to send the SMS using the bulk SMS sender app, you'll be directed to our YouTube page where you watch a video on how to do how to send bulk SMS using an app we've designed. And how do you get the app for that purpose? The app can be downloaded here. So it's already offline, just for you to save it to your device and share it with your phone and install it on your phone. So once you click this, you'll be asked to save the app on your PC. Okay, so that's the second update that we've made in the 2025 version. So the third is candidates can now view their results from the test center client. So let me explain. So there is this setting we now have. This setting allows you to enable or disable candidates from viewing corrections from test center client. So this is useful in case candidate, let's say you have a lot of candidates and you don't want to manually send their corrections to them. They can do that by themselves once they're connected to the server. So here's how a candidate can go about it. So the first thing is you have to enable it here. So the reason why you have to enable or disable is in case you don't want them to be able to access that data, then you disable it. If you want them to access it, then you enable it. And now that it's enabled, let me show you how you can view it. So you go to the test center client, then you go to file, then you see view correction. Once you click on view correction, you can enter any reg number, then go to proceed. Once you click on proceed, the candidates will see a list of exams they've taken so far, all the exams they've taken. So let's say this is the one I'm interested in. I'm going to click on this, then proceed. So what it does, it shows me the correction for the two subjects under this test. And as a candidate, I can view, if I wish to view alone, then I can print. At the end of the correction, there is this summary of how the candidate performed. Then I can also print as PDF. So that's another important feature we've added. It's important you disable it in case you don't want uh, them to access it randomly. So why that's important is if you keep it enabled, anybody can view any correction data. And if you have reasons to restrict that access, then you can disable it. Okay, so that's all about the correction. So the next update that we've made is the scorecard. So this is a completely new feature, scorecard. So scorecard is a way by which you grade certain kinds of assessment or exam. So let's say you want to conduct this OSCE exam taken by nursing slash midwifery students, right? You can't easily grade procedural exams. When I say procedure, there's this exam that requires the nurses to carry out certain activities, and the examiner grades them based on what the examiner is observing. Now, you can use Scorecard to set or to assess candidates carrying out such procedures. So there's a dedicated video on Scorecard. Everything about Scorecard is a dedicated video on that, and you can easily find that here. If you go here, and you click scorecard, you'll see introduction to scorecard. If you click this, it takes you to a YouTube page where you get every information you need to know about scorecard. How do you set question? How do you uh, assess? How do you upload candidate and everything about it? So all the information you need, you find them there. Okay, so that's scorecard. Then under virtual class, we've made an update as well. So under virtual class, you can now export. Before now, you can only access lecture materials within the local server. So let's say you have a candidate that cannot access your venue or cannot access your local server. You can export the content to that user, right? And that user can import it into their test center. So what that means is I can export the content of the lecture notes and it will be saved as a single file. Then the candidate may be anywhere in the world. All you need to do is just to send that file to them. And once they download that file, they import it into their test center client as follows. So what they do is they go to file and they go to import lecture content. And once they do that, they will be asked to browse to the file you've sent to them and import it. So this is a way for you to send your content for your lecture content to anybody that may not be within the vicinity of your local server. So that's an important update that we have done. Okay, so then the final update is under the test, you can now filter candidates by content code. So what this means is before you can't filter by content code, but now you can filter by content code. So let's say I want to filter all the tests by particular exam code, right? So let's say I'm interested in UTME more content. So it filters by that exam. So all the exams shown here, all the tests shown here will be a test that are from this particular content code. So these are some of the key updates we've done, and there are other minor ones here and there, like improving the notification system and many other things that you will definitely observe by the time you get it installed.